So today we're going to take a look at the new release of EvolveFM. And what's really new in Evolve this time around is a new look. And here you're looking at our standard login screen, which doesn't look a great deal different than the old one, though it does a little bit different. But what you'll notice, and what's big news, is that now we're device independent. So now you can log in on your PC. Here you can log in on your iPad, or you can log in on your phone. Whatever device you choose to log in on, you're going to see Evolve the way you need to see it. In other words, the software now adapts to the device that you come into it with. This really changes up the way you can use Evolve in your day-to-day work. So to show you some of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to log in to my site here. And you'll see that I automatically come in because I've preset it up to come into space. Okay, now if I hadn't chosen to come into space, I would have come into a menu choice now. Instead of the icons on the home page, we now have these selections over here on the left-hand side. You see assets, contacts, documents, pictures, plan room, work requests, and space, and soon will be added the rest of maintenance and drawings and everything else. So it'll all be on this menu soon. Right now, for a while, you'll be using Evolve in a hybrid mode where you can use the old desktop version for your drawings and a few other things, and you can use the new device independent version for all the things we're showing here. So the purpose of this little presentation is to take you on a tour of the differences, and there are a few. The colors are a little bit different. The selections on the menu are pretty much the same. When you click on a record, you can either click here to open it, or you can double click and the record will open up. And here we have the forms. The forms are different to the extent that we're always thinking about, well, how is this going to work on a portable device? How is it going to work on an iPad? How is it going to work on a tablet? How is it going to work on your phone? And so all these things play into virtually everything you see here in terms of behavior. So when you come in now, when you're at a field where you can populate something, you'll see over here in a shaded area, this is expected to be an alpha field. And if you work down here, all these in this case are alpha field. This is a phone number. This is a web address. So you can see we've put icons or letters or numbers to identify the field, so that when you get to a field, you kind of know what the data format that's expected is. So other things you can do here, I can create a new record. I can, right now I'm in, I click on more actions here. So right now I am in grid mode, in grid view. And grid view is great for a full desktop like I have here for recording. For a lot of portable devices where your view is a lot narrower and you have a lot less screen real estate, you're probably going to want to be in the list view, because everything can be shown in a much more compact way. So I'm going to stay in grid mode. I just wanted you to be aware that we can display things in either way. Let me get back to grid. Okay. The other thing you can do here, depending on how you like the look of your screen, now these characters are pretty big, especially compared to probably what you remember of the old Evolve screen. I can, if I want to, I can come over here and change my zoom factor on my screen. If I take this down to 75%, you can see your screen immediately starts to look a little bit more like the old Evolve screen in terms of the amount of real estate you have to put data into and the size of the characters, that sort of thing. For purposes of this presentation, I'm going to stay in the bigger form because it'll look better for recording purposes. So I'm going to go back to my 100%. Now, a few things on the searching side. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to use Requester to demonstrate some of the data changes here. So we get our list of work requests in. We have our fields on top. So now, used to be when you searched, it searched across the whole, every column of every field of the whole database to find what you were looking for. Now we constrain that search a little bit in the first search so that you can first click on a column. So now you say, all right, I know I want something in request class, and what I'm going to do, maybe I want to see which requests are move add change. So I can type in Mac here and say search, and immediately I get a filtered list that are only the Mac moves, Mac work requests. And you'll notice also that this box changes to orange, and that's always the case when I'm looking at filtered data. So that's another way I know about it. The other thing we do here that's really nice now, and keeping in mind that at this moment, because request class is still highlighted, we can now filter by a letter and or a number, so that, again, assuming that you're on request class and that's your choice as far as what you want to filter on, you could come down here and I can click on M, letter M, and immediately it's going to filter everything in request class that has the letter M in it and give me a list. So and again, when it's done that, it's showing me that it's filtered so that I can see what's really going on, because it changes to an orange color. And again, if I want to undo that filter, I just click on M again and I return to my full list. And then finally, over here on the left hand side, something that used to be up top, but again we've reorganized it because of the idea of being able to run on portable devices. We have our current view, because we can set up the different views like we could in grids before. And here's our search boxes, where, remember the 6 search boxes we had up in advanced search. Well, advanced search is now over here, and we have the ability to pick from our list of columns and then put in whatever criteria we want to search on and find that information. So it's the same kind of search, it's just in a different location and somewhat probably more logical. And again, we can apply our searches, we can clear our searches, we can do all those things. We can set up views, and in this case I only got the all request view. But if I set up a personal view, I'd have choices of view here, and I can also set up a default view. And the other thing you want to be aware of as you're navigating around this thing is on the right hand edge. You notice as I go on the right hand edge of this column, it changes to a hotspot, and when I click on that, here's where I can sort ascending and descending. This really isn't any different than it was in the old Evolve. It just kind of shows up differently and something you need to know. So here I can see what columns I've turned on and off. I have the same ability to drag columns right, drag columns left, all those kinds of things that I was able to do before. Also, when I pick a column, so when I pick requested date here as maybe the column I want to search on or sort on, you notice it comes up down here, so that I have an identification in a place where I can remember what I'm actually searching on. So that's another sort of a helpful bit of information. And if for some reason I didn't want to take advantage of the idea of searching by a letter or searching by a number, because I can search A through Z and 1 through 9. If I didn't want to do that, I can turn that column off if there's some reason for me to do that. I think in general people are going to want it on, and you have the same ability to drag things across the sheet to see what you need to see. So that's a quick look at how working with data in EvolveFM works now as far as grids go. And just to give you a sense of how things might work a little bit differently in a smaller footprint, I can come over here and log in. I'm going to do the same thing here that I did before. I'm going to go down to requests, but because I'm on a smaller footprint where maybe the real estate isn't so good, maybe I'm going to go to my list view, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say, you know, I want to search on request class. I will type in Mac, I will say search, and it'll sort through all the work requests and find those that are move add change. And again, when I'm done here, I can simply clear that and I'll come back to my full list. And if I come down here and I go down to the letter M again, and I'm still on request class, as you can see, so I click on M, and that will create a list of all the requests that have the letter M somewhere in the class column. So that's how it behaves on a device, and if I were to do that same thing on an iPhone, you would see the same net effect. So the idea here is, and the reason I'm showing you this, is so that you get the feel for how this works on any of the devices you might be using, whether it's an Android phone or an iPhone or an iPad or an Android pad, whatever you're working on. The way the screens are set up now is they adapt to the device you're on, and the behavior is consistent across any device you choose to access Evolve on. And that's really what we wanted to show you today in the What's New category in this release of EvolveFM. So you can log into our Playground site anytime to experience using both the desktop and platform independent user interfaces with the new release. Playground is a fully populated database, and all the features are available for your use. Select any of these links and give it a try. Any of these will take you to the new format of EvolveFM and let you work around in the various grids that you can access from the menu up here and play around with the data and get a feel for how it works, how it reports, and the different kinds of things you can do with it. So have a good time and let us know what you like, what you don't like, and what you think we should change, that sort of thing. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks. EvolveFM. Everything you need, nothing you don't.